On the 4th of July 452, the Roman delegation arrived at the Mantova bridge. The heat is torrid. Orestes, warned by a messenger, places a guard of honor at the outlet of the bridge. He sees the procession at 11 o'clock in the morning. The Pope is accompanied by the senators Avientus and Trigetius and 10 deacons, all dressed in white, including a bearer of the pontifical standard and a bearer of the silver crucifix, 10 legionaries in full dress and with ceremonial weapons, all at horse. 2 legionaries carries enormous bags of leather in the sides and rump of their horses. Orestes welcomes them in the middle of the bridge. Leo, forewarned by Aetius of the Hun customs, descended from his horse as a sign of respect. Orestes does the same, and the Pope perceives this gesture as a good omen. Then the delegation, led by Orestes, crossed the bridge under the curious glances of the Hun guard. At 5 o'clock in the evening, in the magnificent imperial tent, a dinner is given by Attila in honor of the Roman Pope Leo. Attila, dressed in Roman, decided that the dinner should happen in a friendly atmosphere. He invites the Pope to sit in front of him, place Avientus on his right and Trigetius on his left. Leo has Wonges to his right and Edecon to his left. At the end of the table are the secretaries of the delegations, on one side, Prosper of Aquitaine, and on the other side, Orestes, who has accepted for this exceptional occasion to be the secretary of the delegation. The dishes and wines are delicate. In order to diminish the tension of the Romans, Attila began to speak fluently in Latin and Greek, of the time, the years of his studies in Italy, his travels in distant lands. They then discuss different and pleasant subjects. Attila quickly realizes with great regret that Leo does not speak Greek, that is why he later spoke only Latin. Leo is charmed by the Hun emperor, so educated and worldly. The Romans begin to hope to be able to come to terms with him. And here, Attila proposes to Leon to examine all the political questions, face to face, the next day. After this friendly dinner, Leo feels relative safety and begins to prepare for a long, quiet conversation. He is very interested in his partner, powerful and terrible. Indeed, Attila, who treated the Roman emperors Theodosius and Valentinian as his vassals, could behave with Leon very brutally. The Pope imagines what the Roman emperors and even the bishops, pitiless with pagans, Arians, Donatists and other adversaries, could do to Attila. In the case of his defeat, Leon does not fall asleep for a long time. Why is Attila so kind to him? Why was he so attentive to the requests of the bishops and to the prayers of Genevieve in Gaul? On the afternoon of July 5th, the Hun Emperor and the Roman Pope held their conversation confidential. Attila naturally begins with the analysis of the political and military situation. Catastrophic for the Romans. Leo sighs involuntarily. You are certainly right. It is impossible to deny obvious things. The situation for the Romans is really catastrophic. I have no reason to doubt that you will soon become the master of Italy and then realize your dream of the creation of the Roman Hunnic Empire that you mentioned earlier. I ask you only one main question. What will be the fate of the Church and the Christian population in this case? Christians until recently were cruelly prosecuted by the state. I am afraid that new trials will await them. Attila remarks, in my empire, Christians, like the representatives of other religions, feel calm. Hundreds of thousands of Ostrogoths and other Germans are Christians, not to mention the ancient Romans of Dacia and Pannonia, the Greeks of the Black Sea and the Balkan cities occupied by us. Millions of inhabitants of the steppes from the Danube to China also believe in a unique and all-powerful God. The Pope listened with great interest to this statement and came alive. Unfortunately, the Goths are Arian. We have significant differences. Attila interrupts. We find that many ways can lead to the same God. Besides, I do not think a simple Goth understands the difference between the various currents of Christianity. In any case, I promise you, after the creation of the Romano-Hunnic Empire, the official support of the Christian Church and the aid to the voluntary Christianization of the inhabitants from Spain and Africa to the Chinese frontier. Surprised, the Pope exclaims involuntarily, "From Spain and Africa to the Chinese border." Attila smiles. The Huns think that one day he will be a sovereign on earth as there is only one God in heaven. Then you can spread your faith among all peoples. Leon remembers that the Franks and several other Germanic peoples still remain pagan and continue to make human sacrifices. That part of the population of Gaul extermines the Christian missionaries. For Christianity, still weak, recently become a state religion, which has not yet the very deep roots in the consciousness of the population of the Roman empires, opens up an ambitious perspective in this dramatic political situation. Leo returns from his astonishment. You know, I'm realistic and not dreamy. But your proposal is extremely seductive. I will think. Attila looks at him attentively. In fact, you are also the builder of an empire like me. Thanks to your reforms, the Roman papacy becomes a serious political force. The papal court now resembles the imperial court. Bishops depend more and more on you. I am delighted to see the evolution of this invisible empire without any borders. Your creation can survive even the eventual disappearance of the two Roman empires. I find you as the wisest man on earth. Leon is flattered and says very sincerely, "Thanks for understanding. It is very difficult for me, I make great efforts as you do too. This embassy is the very first great diplomatic mission of the Catholic Church, and I would like my intervention to be successful." Attila looks him in the eyes and says slowly, "I expect that the Church can help consolidate and guarantee the stability of the future Roman Hunnic Empire. I propose to start seriously to reflect on the possibility of our future union on the basis of a common interest. I can help the Church to rapidly expand its sphere of influence. We will discuss this issue in detail when I come to Italy next time." The Pope shudders involuntarily. The Emperor continued quietly, "For me, military victory is not the most important thing. For this year, it is enough for me to win your friendship and understanding. Your mission will be a great success. I agree to leave Italy with my army on condition of..." While Attila and Leon discuss, Orestes in his tent speaks with the senators. Avienus asks, "How is your father-in-law, Count Romulus? He is sick and heals himself in his villa near Patavium. That he does not hesitate to come to Rome, my doctor will be at his disposal." "It's very nice, thank you. I will advise him. He values you very much. A soldier brings wine and fruit." Orestes carries a toast, "To your health, fathers conscripts." For the union between the Romans and the Huns. Senators empty their cups, Trigetius comes alive. We talk a lot about Attila's years of studies in Italy. We are impressed by the birth of the Northern Empire. There is great hope of your influence with Attila. The Emperor himself told us that you left after demanding the agreement of Galla Placidia and to save Rome. I hope that thanks to you we will succeed in putting an end to the hostilities. Avitius addresses to Orestes, I think that Attila's esteem for you is also esteem for Rome. Thus I hope that Rome will always remain standing, for an old proverb says, as long as the Colosseum is standing, Rome is also standing. When the Colosseum falls, will fall also Rome. When Rome falls, the world will fall. Orestes remembers with a smile how, 40 years ago, he looked at the panorama of the eternal city from the Capitol with his father and asks, is there always the Luperces College? I was shocked by their ritual races around the Palatine during my first visit to Rome at 12. Senators laughed. Trigetius says, now the nobles run seldom naked during the Lupercalia. They prefer to engage the young in their place. Orestes notes, I have not been to Rome for nearly 30 years. Avientus offers, but you can go with us. Carry Attila's answer to the emperor. Then I invite you to spend a few days in my villa on the edge of a large lake. I think Attila will send his answer with you. But, perhaps, will he want me to meet Princess Honoria? Besides, where is she? Senators look at each other. Trigetius answers in a hesitant voice, no one in Rome knows it except the emperor. She is probably exiled to an island. On the morning of the 6th of July, Attila himself declares in Latin that the agreement was concluded, and that the Hun army would soon leave Italy. He greets Pope Leo as the wisest man on earth and wishes him longevity. The Pope is very touched and moved. They embrace each other and separate amicably. With the senators, Attila behaves quite differently. He declares loudly, so that everyone can hear, tell the Emperor Valentinian that I am always waiting for my fiancée Honoria. I shall return even more terrible and pitiless if the princess is not handed over to my ambassadors before the expiry of the period fixed by the agreement. Prosper of Aquitaine, encouraged by the agreement of Attila and Leon, exclaims, I believe that the empire of the apostolic priesthood will subjugate many people to the spectre of the cross, which Rome could not submit by arms. A few days afterwards, the Hun army left Italy, passes through Innsbruck and destroys on its route Augusta Vendelicorum, Augsburg. The incredible concession of Attila at the request of the Pope has engendered different rumors and legends. One of these legends says that the Emperor Hun was prepared to meet Leo with a beautiful girl named Helena, a young Roman girl, beautiful, pure and pious, lived in the neighborhood of Mantova. Hoping for God's help, she remained alone in the family villa that her parents deserted at the announcement of the arrival of the Huns. Attila, passing in front of the villa with a small escort, decides to stop and rest a little. The girl goes out to meet him and with his most charming smile, invites him to enter and offers hospitality. Attila is so seduced that he asks to give his men some food in the next room and wants to talk with her face to face. She accepts, and they talk. The girl speaks of accomplished task, of mercy after vengeance, of happy old age, of the joys of peace and rest of warriors. He is delighted and ready for anything for her.